Good morning, I'm Jane Morgan, and today I am joined by CEO Ignacio Salazar of emerging ASX-listed potash development company, Highfield Resources. Highfield is anticipated to be a significant producer of potash from the Muga Potash mine in Spain. Good morning, Ignacio.
Good morning, Jane. Nice to be here.
Look, so firstly, for those who are less familiar with potash, can you tell us what it is?
So potassium is a key fertilizer. I mean, it's one of the two fertilizers together with phosphate and also together with the nitrogen ammonium fertilizer. Those are the key ingredients just to use in crops and to get better yields and better production of crops at the end of the day.
So look, there's no surprise that the population is growing significantly. And so from what I'm seeing, the global population will be at about 10 billion people by 2050. So with that, of course, food security is becoming a critical issue. And so what role does potash play in addressing this?
A very, very important role. I mean, that is the only way to make it work. As you very well said, the population is growing. We are going to get to 10 billion. On the other side, by the way, the arable land is decreasing, and there's no way that is going to be prevented or reversed. That trend is going to continue. More people, less land to produce crops is all about yield, the yield of those production. And to get the yield up is by using more fertilizers. Is the NPK we were talking about. Obviously, potassium is a very important element there, together with the P phosphates and nitrogen ammonia related fertilizers. So it's only by working and increasing the use of fertilizers that you will be able to feed the population with less land in the future by increasing yield.
And just so market dynamics now, can you just give us a little bit of an explanation about the dynamics for potash and maybe highlight some of the key producing countries?
So potash, I mean, when I am talking about potassium, I mean, sometimes there's some misunderstandings here. Is two types of potash. One is MOP, muriate of potash, is the one related to our project and is the biggest market and is the one fertilizer used for the bulk of crops generally and globally. It's a 70 million ton per year market, and sometimes, and especially in the Australian environment, is a lot better known. The SOP is a type of potash, which is a smaller market, 7 million, and it's a different type of potash. No, but thinking about and your question about food security and geopolitics in MOP, and which is related to the Muga project and what we are going to be producing, extremely interesting dynamics. I mean, very much is very concentrated. All these fertilizers, potash especially, concentrated production in only a very few number of countries. The first producer is Canada, second one Russia, third one Belarus. Those are, I mean, they are responsible for 20% of production, so altogether close to 70. And after that follows, by the way, China, Germany, and Israel. So really a very small group of countries are responsible, and with obviously clear geopolitical challenges here, are responsible for, well, close to 80% more of the production globally. No? So our project, obviously in Europe, which is half of European demand, used to rely on Russia and Belarus, not so much anymore, and very important to really underpin food security in Europe. So globally, very, very a very interesting dynamics in the market. It is obviously a commodity which has a significant volumes. So transportation is key. It's not a commodity that you can take from one side of the world to the opposite so easily. So regions and blocks are important, and supply demand in every region has their own dynamics, and very important for Muga to be replacing some of the deficit that Europe have going forward. We will be aiming at 1 million. So out of the 7 million in Europe and 70 million globally, we are a small player, in that environment, but very important for Europe. No? Obviously, that 3.5 million are coming from outside Europe.
Well, Ignacio, you just touched on a little bit there, but just for the Muga project and its planned operations and economics, can you just give us a little bit more detail?
So the Muga project, as I said, is MOP producer. We are about to start construction. We are, as we like to say, shovel ready. Everything, all the permitting, that was a huge achievement for the project. Especially in Europe, permitting is always quite lengthy and tough process, but that is all behind us. Contractors, we were announcing recently the last key contractors for construction as well ready. We have also agreements and secure project facilities with significant European banks to take care of a big part of the financing. And it's simply is a final step on the financing and ready to go. No? So very much well prepared to do that. As I said, in this project with very significant competitive advantages, being in the middle of the market. I mean, these key producers in Canada, Russia, obviously far away from any farming area, so they have to transport long distances to get to the market. We will have farmers coming to the mine and pick up the potash potentially with their own trucks. So that is probably the most important advantage of the project, together with the fact that it's a very shallow mineralization, and therefore we don't have to build shafts. We will access mineralization through ramps. And finally, maybe the third key strategic advantage of the project is that all infrastructure outside the mine is already in place. Motorways and rail tracks, electricity substation, again, compared to other projects that are far away. No? So basically, three key important elements that underpin the economics of Muga. It is a project that in our latest feasibility study updated at the end of December 23, I mean, with 92% of the capex already based on firm offers, so very solid numbers. We were reaching 2 billion euros of NPV, so a significant value to be created in this project, which is very resilient to business cycles and price cycles, potash price cycles, given its position in the middle of the market itself.
Ignacio, just further, can you touch on the competitive landscape and who else is out there?
So especially, I mean, we will be our key market, obviously, is going to be Europe. I mean, in potash, it's important to have, because of seasonality of the farming season, we will have access to supply South America, Brazil, especially, that has a significant deficit of potash, and other areas of the world. But obviously, the bulk of our market will be within Europe. I mean, Europe is a region that has been suffering, has very old mines, especially there is another mine in Catalonia, in the other side of Spain, as well as in Germany. But the European mines tend to be 80, 90, 100-year old, and they are obviously in decline. So we see not only Europe has a deficit, half of the demand for potash comes from outside Europe, but also that the current supply is being, I mean, in decline. No? So very much used to be Russia and Belarusian to be the producers just supplying Europe. Obviously, sanctions from the last few years for different reasons have been affecting to some extent that production, and obviously it's a drive in many critical minerals, but in potash as well, not only in Europe but in the US, to get production from your own sources. No, so we see no competition when you think about 500 kilometers around the mine, which is the north of Spain, south of France, very intensive agricultural region, if nothing else because transportation. For farmers, is very important not only to get the right potash, but to get the right potash at the right place, at the right time, in the right sort of conditions. So that is what we can obviously deliver, being close to the market, compared to somebody sending that from the middle of Russia that needs to go many kilometers through land to get to the Baltic Sea, to get to finally to Bilbao or Spain. And therefore that we feel as a captive market, as well as we will have a strong competitive advantage both in the rest of Europe as well as Brazil, for example. No? So it is a supply competition that is in decline, very sensitive geopolitically with Russia and Belarus, and well, even the other producers. And that is no doubt the strongest competitive advantage of the project.
And just from a news flow perspective, what should the investment community be looking out for over the next 3 to 6 months?
So we recently announced what we really feel like the last things to get ready for construction. So permitting is there, contractors are there, the team is there. Well, the project finance with banks are secure and also ready. And very much we feel like practically not much more. We did, in fact, some preliminary work. So when we talk about the starting construction, the truth is that we have been already in construction to some extent, but obviously we need to do now the bulk of the construction, both the plant and the ramps, and build that at the same time. No? So I think we have been doing quite a bit of work. It's very important to get some strategic investors into the company. This is going to be a significant project, and there are going to be obvious synergies and potential for work with some partners in the industry, given also the geopolitical context of the project. So we are expecting that to have some announcements pretty soon. And together with that, we will be moving into, again, the bulk of construction. So it is a project like many of these mining projects that have been for many years waiting for really this to happen. Especially the permitting was probably a major milestone, but now with the financing and all the preparation for construction, we feel very much ready to start construction and make a reality out of the Muga mine.
Wonderful. Well, Ignacio, thanks for joining me today, and we look forward to further company updates in the future.
Thank you very much.